Alright, so last time I went off on a big tangent in my video, which I thought was okay because it was an important tangent regarding getting clarity in my own mind about certain grammar topics and relative clauses and that sort of thing. But now we're back again, and I am going to try and engage with the original thing I wanted to talk about, which was Kate's sort of summary of the state of the discussion. So, the state of the discussion regarding how to interpret certain sentences involving infinitives. Okay, so I've got Kate's email options for infinitives up, and let's start reading through it. So here she's quoting me when I was arguing one of my theories about how to interpret make him angry in the sentence. And my theory was that angry was an adjective, but standing for an implied adverbial prepositional phrase. And I think my current theory is that if you, because I guess initially I was saying it was just an adjective, and then I moved to the adverb theory, but basically, either way, Anon had criticized, I forget which form Anon criticized, but the criticism sort of applies to both of them, where it's like, well, there's something missing. Like, oh yeah, he criticized the adjective interpretation, and it was like, make angry him. And Anon's criticism was basically, make angry him what? Like, there's something missing here, right? Make angry him sad, make angry him mad, make angry him whatever. And so I think that the same criticism roughly would apply to the adverbial interpretation, but let me think about it. So I was thinking about it some, and I was trying to think of like what the meaning of what I actually wrote was. It's interesting, because I said one interpretation is like, when you make him in an angry way for this make him angry sentence. And I'd say that sounds a bit funny, but I think it's clarifying. Like, what does it actually mean? Because one interpretation I had was like, angrily make him, like you angrily make him. So like that would almost be like if you angrily made a sandwich, you know, like slap the ham down on the bread and you're really pissed or whatever. But make him angry is talking about some change in state of him. Like the angry is related to him somehow. It's not really related to the make. So then I thought, well, is there even a way in terms of the meaning So in terms of the actual meaning of the sentence, is there even an adverb interpretation that maps to an adverb interpretation of angry, or like where it's at least standing for some implied adverbial phrase that even maps to the actual meaning of what this says? And I couldn't come up with one. So I think it may just be like kind of wrong, not making a lot of sense. And notice I had to like change the form of the word to even like to angrily to even get something that didn't match the meaning, but it clearly indicated that it was an adverb. So that's like kind of a bad sign that I'm on. I mean, it's a sign that I'm on the wrong track. So Kate asks, if you like the idea of emphasizing the connection between angry and make, why not do what I was doing before? To be angry is an infinitive modifying make. And so I looked up some examples of infinitives serving as adverbs. Here's one. So he moved his chair to be closer to her. And so this makes sense, I think, because he moved his chair. He, subject, moved, verb, chair, object. Why did he move his chair? To be closer. So, since the to be closer is providing information about the purpose of the moving, and the moving is a verb, then the infinitive is serving as an adverb. That seems okay. Whereas, so you make him to be angry. This is the Kate's old adverb or previous adverb interpretation. I don't know if it's her current one. We'll just call it Kate adverb interpretation. You make him to be angry. So, you make him. Why do you make him? To be angry? Like, what's... You see, I guess you could say it's how. You make him... How do you make him? To be angry. Okay. So I guess this interpretation is kind of like if you said, you made the meal to be satisfying. In what manner did you make the meal? In a manner that was to be satisfying. Okay. Right. So I think the issue is that these all have like the same flaw in that him, like in this construction, alright, I really had to ponder this one. So I think the problem with Kate's interpretation regarding to be angry is an infinitive modifying make is that to be angry doesn't really fit within an adverb role. Adverbs do things like they describe the manner of an action. He ran quickly. So I wrote some stuff. So, right, manner of action. He ran quickly. Location, we are here. Purpose, you fought for glory. Another purpose, I made the steel to be strong. To win, they played hard. And note that you could move this one around. So this one is, I made this steel in a manner to be strong. Alright, so actually, as I say it, I realize. Because quickly is definitely an adverb, and I think this is too. And looking at my categories here, like you wouldn't say quickly he ran, or to be strong I made the steel. It doesn't sound super horrible, but it's super awkward. I wonder if there's a relationship between the type of adverb and whether you can move it around. Like, what the adverb is doing exactly, the type of adverb it is, and its position. Oh. That might be the distinction of, like, maybe whether you can move it around or whether it has to be in a fixed position, like the adverb, is a way of telling decisively whether it's the adverb is modifying one verb or the adverb is modifying like more than that. Because I would think if it can't really be moved, if it's stuck, then it's got to be hooked into a word. Whereas if you can move it around, then it's modifying a bigger unit than just the word. That's an interesting thought, at least. Huh. All right. Well, anyway, so grammar tangents are fun, but I get off on lots of tangents. Okay. So the purpose of this was, and this is not a comprehensive list or anything, but like the Kate adverb interpretation is like I don't think this unit of words fits within an adverb category because this is a result. A result is a thing. A result is a noun. That's like, we have to go deep into like so I was really stuck on this. Like, why is Kate's interpretation wrong? Yeah, and so, like, I think the resolution was you sort of have to go really deep into the theory of, like, what's an adverb, what's a noun. The make, when we say make, which means, like, cause in this, like, that would be the synonym. You cause him to be angry. You could drop cause right in there. But make is one of those words like let or some others that gets a lot of play in English in different expressions. But anyway, so if you want to interpret to be angry as modifying make, it's like, well, you're not, like, it's not this, it's not you angrily make him, it's not about the manner of the action, it's not, to be angry isn't a location, it's, you definitely can't impute that it's like the purpose is to make him angry. Like that's not how I would read you make him angry. Because typically, oftentimes people can get angry without you doing anything. Just say, you know, past contacts, or they don't like your face or whatever. So I think that's the criticism, is that, I mean, it like it's, I don't want to just say like, oh, it's the criticism of the adverb interpretation is that this isn't an adverb, because that sounds a little, but like, I think if you think about like what an adverb is and the different types, then I think that's kind of where you wind up, because it doesn't fit. So there may be something, and you know, I'm not piling on Kate here, because I had the same, I had a variant approach of trying to treat this as an adverb, so you know, I was doing it too. There may be something kind of rationalistic about this sort of analysis, because it's like not rooted, like viewing this as an adverb, it's like not rooted in what adverbs are. Like the starting place has to be, you know, what is this, or what is this, like whatever group of words you're looking at, what is it? I think to be angry, like this is a state, this is a result, this is a thing. It's not a manner, it's not a purpose. I mean, purposes can be, I mean, there's some slipperiness in these categories, as you'd say. A purpose is a kind of thing, but yeah, I don't think that this fits with an adverb. Okay. So that was a long walk, right? It's kind of like, you make him angry. It's sort of like, you caused a traffic jam. You verbed a thing. Oh, let me see. Yeah, no, Kate is right. Yeah, so Kate's right. There's an ambiguity in whether my meaning was the making was an angry sort of making, or I was angry when I made it. Right? Because you can make a sandwich angrily, like you slap the ham down, you slap the tomato down, or you can make it in a way that seems calm, but you're angry inside. So, like, you don't have to show your emotions in your actions. Slapping that ham down on the bread. Yes, I agree. Yeah, Kate's saying the relationship. Kate's basically saying what it, you know, the long walk that I took earlier in this video, which is that it's not a standard adverbial relationship between angry and made. Angry doesn't clearly answer the question how he was made. And, like, that's true. I do think it's worth thinking about some of the other questions that adverbs can answer, because, like, that helps concretize it a bit more if you just sort of go down at least some of the list and think, well, it's not this, it's not this, it's not this, it's not an adverb. Because if you haven't sort of really thought about it, it can be kind of fuzzy. I mean, adverbs can be a bit tricky, so. Angry is telling us about the emotional state of him at some unspecified point in time. It's not talking about the process of the making at all. The making is not angry. whereas the making in you make music brilliantly is brilliant. Yeah, so Kate's quoting me. I agree with all this. I disagree that angry isn't talking about the process of the making at all. I think there's some connection to make. Well, I mean, it depends on what you mean by connection. But it's like it's in a sentence, but like I guess what I was thinking here is, say, I think I was making a strong bright line distinction between process versus result, and I see the emotional state as the result. Okay, it says, despite the connection between angry and make, I think it's better to associate angry with the object him if we can figure out a way to do that. I agree. But anyways, I consider this option 1, angry as a stand-in for stuff that's going on adverbially to modify make, okay? Right, so viewing angry as an object complement was option 2. I've really taken every side. I should come up with an interpretation where it's just like this is an entirely separate clause, like, I don't know. I mean, it is like with an implied conjunction or something, just something really wild. Just anyway. So anyway, I guess I'd said I looked at object complement stuff again, and the examples seem pretty different than make him angry. For example, I prefer my coffee black. Black is clearly talking about the quality of the coffee, right? Black coffee is the kind of coffee that people drink. You know, like if you got rid of the "my," you could just say I prefer black coffee. That's interesting, by the way. Like you could say I prefer my black coffee, but the meaning would be a little different. So if you wanted to just flip the order, you would want to drop the "my" generally. Anyway, I don't see the big difference that you do. I prefer my coffee to be black. Yeah. Well, I mean, like this seems like it's just modifying coffee in the straight. Oh, or actually, would we analyze this as I prefer X? So it would actually be, I think so, huh? And that's a bit tangent to, I prefer my coffee in a black way. No. No, I don't think so. Black could be seen as giving us information about the nature of the preferring no, in the same way that angry gives us information about the nature of the making. I think those are both wrong. I don't see how you prefer coffee. How you blackly prefer coffee. Right? Like that's... Anyways, there are other OC examples of the same structure as you make him angry. The music makes me happy. I guess that's also just... So regarding a couple of the examples that Kate mentions, I just wrote my like updated interpretation in light of our recent discussion on the list. So I prefer my coffee to be black. I read I read this whole thing as a direct object, but it's also a clause. And regarding this, I imply a be here in the object, and so we say music subject makes verb, and then me be happy. That whole thing is like the result. Like the music makes X. What is X? Me be happy. And so within the X, subject me, verbal, or verb, whatever you want to call it, be, complement happy. So I just asked, with regarding the blanket kept. So I think Kate is saying that she thinks maybe warm could also be kind of an adverb type thing, and I say, she says, here too, I don't see the big difference you do. I say, I think in this sentence, being warm is a state and actual. Actually, let me just qualify this. I'm not quite sure what she means, so I want to indicate that. So I say, if you're thinking warm can be some kind of adverb, I disagree. I think in this sentence, being warm is a state and actual result, not a manner of keeping or a purpose. By the way, do you think we can imply an infinitive here too? For example, pig be warm. My problem, so Kate summarizes, my problem with the object complement interpretation of make him angry isn't that it doesn't fit other examples of so-called object complements. I think it fits fine. My problem is that the OC categorization seems like a vague, broad catch-all. And I just say, I agree that the category seems pretty vague, broad. So Kate's summarizing the Anon approach, which is currently my interpretation for how to interpret this stuff. Or it's subject implied you, verb make, object him to be angry, and then within the object, subject him implied to be, or be, I think, would also work, but not a huge distinction. And then the adjective is angry. So it's a complement. Essentially, so we have an infinitive clause acting as the direct object. Essentially, I think these infinitive clauses are a type of noun clause, a group of words with both a subject and a verb, quote unquote, who function together as one noun unit. In this case, they function as the direct object. So, some noun clauses have a finite verb in their clause. She forgot that it was my birthday. Oh yeah, that's the thing that I spent like. Because Kate seems to be reading that it was my birthday as the object, which was my first sort of instinct as well, but then I remembered that Elliot criticized that reading. So Kate says, regarding what she's calling interpretation 3, it's weird that the verb of an infinitive noun clause isn't actually a finite verb, but that's not a deal breaker for me. The verb, quote unquote, is functioning as a connector between a subject who is performing the action and an object which is the recipient of the action. Him/eat/banana. That's good enough for me. Also note that an infinitive noun clause doesn't have a conjunction, while a finite verb noun clause does. that's not a deal breaker for me. I think I'm going to end this video here.